Hey y'all, I want to start this story by saying that I'm not a dress wearer and I don't really wear makeup ever. I find both of those things to be very miserable actually. So that's where my story begins. My cousin was dating this girl one time a while back and she decided to get married. Not to him, but she decided to get married and she asked me to be her matron of honor. And that's where it all started. So she told me, I would like you to be my matron of honor. And I said, no, I can't wear a dress. I'm not going to do it. Just let me cut the cake or something. But I really don't want to be your matron of honor because I don't want to wear a dress. And she said to me, I'll buy your dress, but I have two requirements. So the first requirement was that it be periwinkle in color. And the second requirement was that it have somewhat of a train. She said her dress was going to have a very long train. And she would like my dress to have somewhat of a train. And all I needed to do was go up to David's Bridal and get myself a periwinkle dress with a train. Well, against my better judgment, I headed up to David's Bridal, and this little girl was waiting on me there with an appointment, and she was a chipper little girl, and she ran all over that store gathering up periwinkle dresses, and apparently periwinkle was in style at that time. She would come back with 2 or 3 hands full. I would look at her, and I would go, nope, not doing it. And I would shoot her down every time. See, I'm a big girl, and I also have some requirements, and one of my requirements is I don't want a stick-to-me dress. I don't want my rolls showing. I don't want my arms showing. So I would shoot these dresses down, and she'd come by, and finally, out of desperation, she looked at me with the very last periwinkle dress in the store that had a train on it. It had spaghetti straps. It could be altered. It was not form-fitting, but it was not exactly tight right then. It could be altered, like I said. And she looks at me and says, we can get you a shawl or a scarf to cover your arms. So I reluctantly agreed to try this last dress. And that's the dress I ended up with. This periwinkle, not real tight at the time dress, in which I could use a scarf to cover my arms. Well, the wedding was a couple of months away, and as you all know, when you are a big person, a couple months is, opportunity to gain some weight. So I had it altered at first, and then I went back closer to time to the wedding to pick the thing up, and I tried it on, and it was too late to get any other alterations. So now, this periwinkle dress with this scarf to cover my arms that had a slight train was miserable. I was stuffed in there like a sausage, and you could see every roll on my body. This was not going to be fun. Well, anyway, so I had this friend named Rhonda that I was going to nursing school with. And Rhonda told me when it came close to the wedding, she said, I'll do your makeup and I'll fix your hair. And you will be fine. And did I mention that my daughter at the time was about 3 years old and she was going to be a flower girl? And my friend Rhonda also agreed to do her hair and her makeup, and everything was going to be wonderful. Well, we showed up over at my friend Rhonda's house with this periwinkle dress that was tight, showed every roll, and this little scarf to cover my arms and this slight train, and she was going to do my makeup and my hair and do Rihanna's makeup and her hair. And it was July and hot. And Rhonda's air condition was out. Well, she did my hair, my makeup, and she did my daughter's hair and makeup, and we were sweating bullets. I mean, sweating bullets. It was hot. And so, in between my rolls, you could see the sweat. And I was miserable. Stuffed all in that dress, tight, hot, sweaty, makeup on, running all over the place. It was just miserable. Anyway, Rhonda wanted to take some pictures, and so we went outside in the heat and took some pictures in this dress. Anyway, after the pictures, my dad showed up in my car because he knew I could not drive that car to the wedding in that dress that had that train that I was stuffed in like a sausage. So he came to pick me up in my Saturn vehicle. Now y'all, Saturns back in the time had a very small back seat. They were tiny. Well, at first I got in that front seat, buckled my daughter in the back seat, and we were ready to go. And then my daughter started throwing a fit because, she was 3 years old and she also wasn't a dress girl. And so I just didn't want her making a mess of herself. So I decided to get in the back seat with her. I gathered up all that dress, that train, stuffed myself into that back seat with all my tight dress on and that train all shoved in there, miserable and hot, and I buckled myself in. And my dad started to leave Rhonda's house. We pulled out of the driveway. I could see Rhonda waving at me from her front porch. And she was waving, and she was smiling. And then all of a sudden, I see Rhonda do this. She went from to. So I knew there was something wrong, but I wasn't quite sure what it was. So we're driving down Rhonda's road in her neighborhood, and we come to the main road where we needed to pull out. Well, my dad is stopped at the stop sign, and he's looking both ways, and then he gasses it to pull out on the main road. And when he gasses it, all of a sudden I felt like I was being pulled back through the turtle hole of my car. And turtle hole, y'all, is a trunk, a place where you store your groceries or whatnot in the back. But I felt like I was being pulled through my back seat plumb into my turtle hole. I did not know what was happening. And all of a sudden, I couldn't breathe. And I was like, what in God's name is happening? I was unable to breathe. I felt the life just flooding from my body. And I look up into the rearview mirror and I say to my dad, I can't breathe, Daddy, I can't breathe. And my dad looks back at me from the rearview mirror and his eyes are like, and I said, you've got to pull over. So my dad pulls over and all of a sudden there was this great release. I felt something give way and I could breathe again. Man, I didn't know what happened, and my dad had hopped out of the car and headed over to my side of the vehicle and opened the door, and he said, your train is wrapped around the back axle of your back wheel. And I'm not sure we're going to get you unstuck. The only thing my dad had to give me any relief and get me unstuck was his pocket knife. So he went to sawing, and by the time he was done, my train lay in shreds. And what was left of it had a tire track plumb up to my behind in the back. My dress had ripped wide open in the back. You could see everything, and I'm like, I'm not making it to this wedding. It ain't happening. Anyway, I get in the car and I'm frustrated and I'm mad and I'm not going to the wedding. And my daughter looks at me at 3 years old and she goes, it's all right, Mama. Jesus will fix it. I said, nope, Jesus ain't fixing this. So I call this girl and I tell her I'm not making it to the wedding because half of my behind is hanging out from a dress that's ripped apart. My train is in shreds and there's a tire track all the way up to the bottom of my behind in the back. I'm not making it to the wedding. And she said to me, yes, I still want you to be in my wedding. This is my wedding. You're my waiter of honor and you can't leave me now. You got to come be in this wedding. We will fix it. I'm like, I don't think you can fix it. But we headed off towards the wedding. So when I got there, y'all, her stepmama was there and she was no seamstress, but she did carry an emergency sewing kit with her and she had some bright yellow thread. And the best she could do was sew me up like a football with this bright yellow thread against this periwinkle dress that was in shreds with the tire track all the way up the back. I walked down the aisle like that. I was her matron of honor. I upheld my obligation. My dad got this stuff on video, y'all. People were laughing. I won't do it again. I will not be caught dead in a dress. 'Cause I almost was dead in a dress. I was almost decapitated by a bridesmaid's dress.